Dr. Houston, good morning. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am great. Happy Monday to you. Thank you so much. I know we're limited on our time today, so let's just jump right in. And while we're talking about May being Mental Health Awareness Month, we're also talking about or helping parents just try to understand how you identify some of the emotions that your children, our children, go through. You want to break down some of those for us this morning?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really important for parents to be able to teach their kids how to recognize what they're feeling in the moment, because a lot of times we'll say things like, you need to help calm yourself down,
Mhm.
or why are you feeling so nervous, or why are you acting like that? And for a lot of kids, they may not even know. They may not be able to identify in the moment what's the difference between anxiety or frustration or sadness. And so it's important for us as adults to try and give language to that, but also to try and help point out how we know that they might feel a certain way and how that might be impacting their behavior and what they're thinking about in the moment.
Let me jump right in. So, we're talking about 1 in 5 children living with mental illness. It can be identified at a very early age. So, what points or what words should parents should we be using when we're talking to our children without kind of minimizing what they're going through?
That's a great question, because I think, like most parents, I'm a parent myself,
Mhm.
and I fall into the bad habit of, when a kid brings up a challenging emotion, like I'm feeling scared or I'm feeling nervous or I'm feeling angry, we try to dismiss it and say, well, you shouldn't feel that way because, or what do you have to be nervous about? Or what are you talking about? You love doing this. Instead of trying to learn more about it and saying, wow, you're feeling anxious right now because we're doing something new, or you're feeling frustrated right now because I wouldn't let you do the thing that you wanted to do. And so if we can use the language and just simply describing what we think they're feeling, and then as they get a little older, we might even say things like, did I get that right? Is that how you're feeling? And they might be able to reflect back and say, yeah, I am feeling like that. And from there comes a whole cascade of different conversations and strategies to manage the situation, and lots of information that you can share with them. But really giving them that ability to self-reflect and think, how am I feeling and how is it impacting me right now, is a really important step in emotional development.
I think while we're talking about emotional development, Parker, I think that 2020 has been that year where a lot of people, not just children, but adults, are talking about mental health issues. And it's a good thing because that's what your movement, I'm not going to call it a moment, it's a movement that you guys have with On Our Sleeves. You're trying to help us as parents help us identify these emotions that we deal with as well as what our children are dealing with. So let's talk about the 135 words. Who knew that? 135 words to that we can use to describe the emotions.
Right. It's really fascinating how many words there are that we could use to describe an emotion or a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And a great exercise to do with your family, no matter how old your kids are, is to make kind of a tree diagram where you might put the main emotions at the top. We all know probably the 4 or 5 main emotions we would think of, with anger and fear and joy and sadness. But then think about the tree branches that come down from that, and all the different subtle words about feeling the difference between curious and nervous, or the difference between feeling terrified and feeling fearful. And there's so many different words in such a rich language in English. I'm sure there are in any other language that a family might speak to describe all the different emotions. And so
And
it's
go
fun.
ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just a great thing to do with our kids.
And one of the big words out there that kids use, and I didn't realize this, my kids are older now, but I probably just went right over it, loneliness. That kids at a very young age experience loneliness.
Yeah, certainly. And loneliness can be associated with other emotions too. And so, you start stringing them together and asking them, well, when you feel lonely, what other kind of feelings do you have? And some kids feel sadness, some kids feel fear or anger,
Mhm.
uh, depends on the situation. And so you can help them learn how all these things are interconnected, and what do you think about during those times, and how do you act during those times. And it's all a pattern, it's all interconnected, and the more they understand about that, the better equipped they are to try and manage when those emotions and behaviors happen.
Dr. Houston, let me ask you this: and at what age should we start talking to our children about this? Because I don't want to plant a seed of something being an issue and it's not. So, at what age should parents start having the conversation with their children? about some of these emotions, the loneliness, the anger, the sadness?
Well, I think no matter when we decide to start talking about it, they are experiencing these emotions from an early age. And kids are going to develop their own strategies unless we help them by providing good and healthy strategies. So the earlier we talk to them about these things, the earlier we start giving them language and making it a regular topic of conversation, the better off they'll be. And the better off we'll be because we're also developing language with our kids and we're developing an understanding. So to me, it's before language even develops that we start using words and helping them learn about frustration and anger and fear, because they're going to experience those things. It's just a matter of how well they learn and how well they develop the skills to manage them over time. And that's going to determine their level of resilience and their level of emotional development and health long term.
I've heard some of my friends talk about how you don't want to create something that's not there. So I mean, because you don't know when your child is imitating one of their friends, when when it's really an issue, really a problem for them, or that they're dealing with. Can you help us understand that? Because we don't have like the background that you have, doctor, with the psychology on this. How do we have that conversation then? What do we say?
Well, the first misconception to correct is that, us talking about negative emotions plants a seed of more negative emotions. And there's just no research to support that. There's nothing that we would ever find in any sort of research on kids or adults where just talking about how to deal with frustration and anger makes someone feel frustrated and angry more often. It's the same thing with talking about things like suicide and self-harm, that parents worry that if I bring that up, then that might bring it into existence. But the research is actually the opposite. The more we talk about these things, the more kids feel equipped that when they come up, they're not scared of them. They're not upset about feeling angry or sad or fearful. They know this is just an emotion. I know how to manage emotions. I know how to talk about emotions. I know, how to watch for different emotions and my behavior related to them. And they're more likely to bring them up to parents and other caregivers too.
So we should just have the conversation, no matter how big, how small it is,
Yep.
whether it's with one child or all of the children in the household. Have the discussion, start talking about it.
Yeah, just talk about it.
All right. Parker Houston, thank you so much for joining us here on NBC4i.com. We appreciate it. Again, this is a movement that Nationwide Children's Hospital is going to continue. I know May is Mental Health Awareness Month, but this is a discussion we can have every day, all year long, 365 days a year.
Hi everyone, Gina McDowell here with you today to cover 5 ways to cope with loneliness. Loneliness is a tough emotion to manage, even for adults. It's fairly normal for kids to feel lonely on occasion when their friends are busy or maybe when certain circumstances interfere with their social interactions. But we also know that extended periods of feeling lonely can lead to lowered self-esteem, sadness, or even depression at times. Let's talk about some ways that you can help your kids cope with these feelings of loneliness when they occur. One is to try to talk to them about their feelings. Let them know that it's perfectly okay to feel lonely sometimes. Instead of trying to find a solution right away though, just listen and validate where they're at in that moment. Number 2 is to help them find a group or a team to join, even if it's virtual. Being part of a community provides a sense of support and helps ease those feelings of loneliness that may creep up every now and then. Number 3 is to let them find a skill that they can master. This can include playing an instrument, drawing, or even learning a new language. Building mastery is a great way to build self-confidence, increase positive emotions, and even learning to enjoy one's own company. Number 4, find volunteer opportunities. Giving back is an excellent way to increase positive emotions and teach the importance of helping others. Check out different opportunities in your area, maybe like the local food pantry or even an animal shelter. And finally, number 5, plan fun family activities at home. Create that sense of support and connection right underneath your own roof. Family game nights, special celebrations, arts and crafts, these are just a few examples of how you can incorporate this into your family's routine and help cope with those feelings of loneliness. That is all I have for you today. I hope you found this to be helpful. We'd love to hear any creative ideas that you and your family have come up with, so don't forget to share those in the comments section. As always, don't forget to like us and subscribe. Thank you for joining, and we will see you next time.